This video is made possible by Lopez Rotary. If you have any interest in rotaries or rotary engines, please go check out Eric Lopez on Instagram. It'll be linked in the description below.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 1982 Mazda Rx-7. Up front is a 1.1 liter 12A rotary engine, and down below is a 5-speed manual transmission. Guys, I am super excited to be driving this here FB Rx-7 for a couple of reasons. First of all, this one only has 44,000 miles on it. This is an absolute time capsule. It's been meticulously kept, and up until recently was a one-owner car. It was beautifully preserved by its first owner up in Minnesota, which is a feat on its own because, of course, northern states here use salt, and the fact that this is still rust-free is very impressive for being 39 years old. But the second reason, of course, why I'm excited to be driving this is because I've owned many of these Rx-7s, and I love them. I absolutely love them. There's no two ways about it, and I'm excited to share that with you. So let's get back to that 1.1 liter rotary engine making 101 horsepower from the factory, and it's peppy, but it's not quick. It's a little 12A. It is a carbureted rotary engine with a Nicky carburetor. However, you have to remember the era in which this car came out. This car revs to 7,000 RPM, something that wasn't really commonplace back in the 80s. Well, really, the late 70s when this car was designed. And so the 12A offers something that not a lot of other cars offered at the time, which was a high revving, buzzy, light motor. The 12A feels airy. It feels like there's pillows inside of it, at least in its stock form, and especially with its stock exhaust system. These things get rowdy with aftermarket exhaust systems. All right, window down, 12A. It's not fast, but it's smooth. It's so smooth up to 7,000 RPM. Again, not common for 1982. And here in 1982, this was the only engine offered in the Rx-7. However, in 1984 and 1985, the two final years of this generation of Rx-7, you could seek out a 13B, which is a fuel-injected 1.3 liter rotary engine, and that's the more sought-after one. But I'm fine here with my little 12A. It's fun. I enjoy it. It's nice being back in a 12A. No, you're not going to win many drag races, but that wasn't really the point of the first generation Rx-7. Like I said, paired to a 5-speed manual transmission, and again, that was the only transmission offered in 82 besides a 3-speed automatic, if that's something you really wanted. You could seek out an automatic. However, an automatic with the 12A is a pretty terrible combo. It's very, very slow. Last but not least, of course, the FB Rx-7 is rear-wheel drive, and the GSL package actually got rear disc brakes as well as a limited slip differential in the back, which is fantastic and something definitely to seek out. With that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. And the biggest thing about the interior, before we even talk about specifics, is the fact that this is a weird year for the Rx-7. Not only because actually this is the last year for the small flywheel on the engine, but the interior is shared with the SA Rx-7, the very first gen. However, the exterior is shared with the later generation of Rx-7. So 81 to 83 is kind of this weird mix of the FB generation. So this is the older interior with the newer exterior. But let's get into the interior. In front of me, I have a bunch of different gauges. On the left, I have my fuel, oil pressure, and coolant temperature. Then in the center, I get my beautiful center-mounted tachometer and my battery voltage. A little bit different from the SA Rx-7. The battery voltage is actually part of the tachometer. Very interesting. And then on the right, I get my speedometer that only goes up to 80 miles an hour because, of course, this was the 1980s. And the national speed limit was 55. That's why the 55 mile an hour is circled and in a different font. But I like the look of it and kind of interesting little 80s quirk. On the steering wheel, I don't get anything. No buttons, no switches, no dials, no nothing. I just have the little Mazda logo and I love it. Very clean, very simple, very typical of older rotaries. Then to the left of the steering wheel, I have a trunk release, the choke for the carburetor, and the fuel door release, which is interesting. One of the main ways you can tell this is a Series 2 RX-7 and not a Series 3 is the fact that it'll have the updated exterior, but it will still have a locking gas cap. That's typical of the 81 to 83 RX-7. Then on the door, I just have my latch and my grab handle. I don't actually have any window operations. We'll save that for the center. Moving into the center, I get 2 rectangular climate control vents. Then I get the climate controls themselves, which I am pleasantly enjoying air conditioning right now. Beautiful, love it. I don't think I've ever driven a first gen RX-7 with working air conditioning, but I have to say I'm a big fan. I do have this little jewel push-in button for the air conditioning itself, very 70s. And then we have the original radio. Again, love the look of that. I just have AM and FM, and that is it. Moving down below, I have a little ashtray, cigarette lighter, and I do have an auto-reversing cassette deck. Again, from Clarence, same company that made the stereo up above. I like the look of both. Very, very typical of like the late 70s, early 80s, especially with that cassette deck. I love that. Then I have a quartz clock down below, rear defroster, and my headlight switch. So the Mazda RX-7 has pop-up headlights. It's one of the main characteristics of all RX-7s. And so you can manually just pop them up without turning the lights on down below here. Then we have the shifter itself. The shifter is rather tall and it has a decent throw. It's not a long throw, but it's also definitely not a short throw. However, I like it. It is pretty notchy, goes right into gear real nice. And while the shift knob isn't wowing me, it's presentable and looks handsome. Down below the shifter, we do have our window switches, our rear wiper, which works. And then we have our cruise control button. Now in the Series 3 of the FB, that cruise control button gets moved up towards the gauge cluster, but down here it's actually found in the center, and I do get cruise control, which is nice for 1982. What is missing down here are cup holders. So, doing a big friggin' bottle test, I do have little inserts inside the glove box. This is for like drive-in movies and such, but there's no way the big friggin' bottle is fitting in any space in here. So, the first gen RX-7 to get big friggin' bottle tested fails the big friggin' bottle test. One thing to note is that this does get a sunroof. It is a manual sunroof that you have to crank, but you can use the 2 tabs and actually pull the sunroof itself out, which is fantastic. Now we gotta talk about the seats. These are part of the GSL package, the leather package. Absolutely love them. I think they look fantastic. They've held up really well for being almost 40 years old. I hope I look this good at 40. However, the Series 3 GSL got different leather seats, so this is just for the Series 2. Now, we don't have any back seats, thank God, although you could find FBs with back seats, and I have sat in them before. They're not pleasant, but we don't have back seats, so let's go take a look at the hatch. All right, so we're on the back of the 1982 Mazda RX-7. Pop it like that, pull up, and these struts do tend to weaken over time, so I do have to hold it, but look at this stuff. This is Mazda RX-7 customer 10-minute maintenance course. Love that. The owner's manual, and then this is a leather bag for the sunroof. When you take it out, you can actually put it back here. Not a whole lot going on back here. You do get speakers, and there is a little light right there, but other than that, tons of space. I have actually slept back here, and that's not a joke. I did sleep back here one time, and I woke up because this rear glass becomes a greenhouse when the sun starts hitting it, so I baked pretty bad. But I've slept back here. I've fit so much stuff back here. Really, really impressive. One more thing about the interior is if you come behind the seats here, we actually have these bins, these storage bins, which just have room for storage. They have nice little clicking tops on them, but super, super nice. You get some extra storage here in the RX-7. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I don't know if there's a more beautiful car. The lines, the shapes, so unapologetically 80s. It's angular, it's rounded, it's cute, it's cuddly, it'll bite your head off. Just so many emotions packed into the look of one car. I love it, and I love this white color. You don't really see too many FBs in this white color. I love that look. And these are the stock wheels, the plus signs. That's how you know it's not a GSLSE. The GSLSE from 84 and 85 will have different wheels. But now let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think of the 1982 Mazda RX-7? Well, I cannot keep my bias out of it. And I want that to be fair and open information, is the fact that I've owned 2 of these. I currently own one. My very first car I ever bought was a red 85. I love these cars. There's so much nostalgia wrapped up with me with these cars. I think they look great. They're so fun to drive. They don't drive like anything else. Driving a Rotary is not like driving a normal car. You have to treat it different. You have to act different. You have to be different. This is the first car to ever really make me smile. This is the first car that I walked out of a grocery store and I looked at and I felt like I won the lottery. This is the first car I impressed my friends with. This is the first car I was proud of. I don't think it gets much prettier. I don't think it gets much better. It's slow, but man, so am I. To be driving one with such low miles, in such good condition, it's amazing. This is what this car was like when it came out of the showroom in 1982. This is what it was like. Man, to be that person to pick up your brand new Mazda RX-7 and to drive it to your next work party and say, yeah, it's got one of them wankles. Oh, what it must have been like. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Lopez Rotary for letting me take out their 1982 Mazda RX-7. Please go check out their Instagram. If you have any interest in Rotaries, RX-7s, Mazdas, they collect and curate classic Mazdas, and they're absolutely awesome. If you are selling your classic Mazda or looking to buy a classic Mazda, please reach out to them. Eric is absolutely awesome. His Instagram is down in the description below. Please reach out, message him, ask him your questions, connect with him. He is someone you want to know if you are into Rotaries, and I cannot thank them enough. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.